Animals function best within a limited range of body temperatures that varies from one species to the next. Outside of that optimal range, animals will begin to struggle, and eventually temperatures either too hot or too cold can be lethal.
So Ocala National Forest is a really beautiful area. If you're walking around a longleaf pine site, you might come across a pygmy rattlesnake. If you're in a scrub site, you'll likely see the scrub jay, which is also a protected species. So yeah, all in all, it's a pretty area. My research advisor, Lance McBrayer, has always worked with Sceloporus woodi in Ocala. There aren't many people that actually study Sceloporus woodi, only 1 or 2 labs in the southeast. Sceloporus woodi is endemic to a relatively small region of central Florida, with the largest remaining populations occurring in Ocala National Forest. And so the lizard is currently listed on the IUCN's Red List as being a threatened species too, so its populations are definitely dwindling.
The Florida scrub lizard has very specific habitat requirements, preferring shaded yet open sand substrates mixed with litter and scattered vegetation.
The Florida scrub lizard is found in 2 different habitat types, longleaf pine and sandpine scrub. The longleaf pine habitats are dominated by longleaf pine trees, and the understory is made up of turkey oaks as well as wiregrass. The scrub habitats look very different. They have small, open sand patches. The tallest tree is going to be the sand pine tree. And as far as the understory goes, you have a lot of oak species that are there, as well as palmetto shrubs. Historically, the scrub lizard has needed sites that were, burned every 8 to 10 years to maintain these small open patches. And the longleaf sites in Ocala are, for the most part, maintained pretty well. The scrub sites, they've, replaced that historic fire rotation with clear cutting, but that causes the open patches to be much more overgrown, so less suitable for the lizards. So all in all, the lizards are a lot more abundant in the longleaf sites than they're going to be in the scrub habitats.
Using models that were designed to mimic the biophysical properties of a small lizard, Lauren found that the local environment of the lizards was hotter in the scrub habitat than in the longleaf habitat.
That's going to affect the lizard's thermoregulatory behavior because they have preferred ranges of temperatures, so they'll have greater success carrying out fitness enhancing activities such as foraging, acquiring mates, avoiding predation.
Lauren wondered if this mattered to the lizards, but to answer that question, she first had to catch some.
9 times out of 10, you hear them move as you're approaching them. So they're gonna see you before you see them. And once I see a lizard, I have a noosing pole that we make, usually just with an old fishing pole, and we rig up a slip knot on the end of it. So essentially you wanna put the noose around the lizard's neck and just pull back.
Lauren brought her prizes back to Georgia Southern to see if differences in the thermal environments of the 2 habitats influence scrub lizard behavior and physiology. For example, to estimate the ability of lizards to tolerate thermal extremes, she measured the highest and lowest temperatures at which a lizard was able to right itself when flipped onto its back.
I found that longleaf pine populations could withstand slightly colder temperatures than the sandpine scrub populations. And similarly, the sandpine scrub populations were able to withstand significantly warmer temperatures than the longleaf pine lizards. So the thermal tolerance ranges in the sandpine scrub populations have shifted upwards to match the environmental temperatures that they're experiencing.
To see how temperature affected the sprint speed of lizards from the 2 habitats, Lauren chased them down a racetrack at 5 ecologically relevant temperatures.
I found that sandpine scrub populations had a higher thermal optima, meaning that lizards from sandpine scrub habitats ran their fastest speed at relatively warmer temperatures compared to the longleaf pine populations.
So Florida scrub lizards have adapted to the hotter temperatures of the scrub pine environment, but there is surely a limit to their adaptive capabilities.
Even a 1 or 2 degree temperature increase in the available operative temperature is going to have, large impact on the amount of time that those lizards have to carry out really, really important tasks.
Although it may seem counterintuitive, burning may be essential to help Florida scrub lizards deal with the heat.
So in longleaf pine forests that are managed with prescribed burns, the management is preserving the vertical perches that are on trees. So lizards can utilize trees as perches when ground temperatures become unfavorably hot. Conversely, in the sandpine scrub habitats, those sites are logged, they're clear cut, so all of the vertical perches, are removed. So they're restricted to terrestrial perches, which get a lot warmer.
With global temperatures expected to rise somewhere between 3 and 12 degrees over the next century, it's not clear whether these lizards will be able to keep up.
So I found that these lizards are able to adapt to the thermal, their respective thermal environments. So they're optimizing their physiological performance based on the temperatures that they're experiencing in their respective habitats. Since tropical and subtropical lizards are thought to be especially vulnerable to the effects of anthropogenic climate change, this makes us think, well, there might be, new hope, because the Florida scrub lizard, has been able to adapt to its respective thermal environment, but we don't really know the adaptive capabilities of these lizards. So, more research definitely needs to be done.